this computer. Oh, I'm gonna stop it.
The power of our lives is about how we think. Everything we do starts with mindset. We cannot do anything, even to say we're going to go and achieve something. It starts with a decision of something to be able to get to a goal. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I hope you're excited. And I want to thank Christine for inviting me to do this. I really appreciate that. And I love my gifts. Just so I mentioned, everybody's born with a gift. I have finally come to realize, accept, and embrace my gifts are to write, speak, and influence. Those are the three gifts the good Lord blessed me with. And whatever who you pray to or believe in, that's the gifts that I have been given. So I love to speak. This is something I love to do, but I love to speak and write to help empower others and to help influence others to look at themselves, strengthen their self-worth, to be able to enrich the self-worth of others. Okay, so with that, when Christine says, tell you what I am all about and what I have been doing, I actually answered that question a little differently than I think most people. You're probably sitting expecting me to say, I'm this, I've done this for the last 12 years or not. No, I'm going to show you who I am. So I am me. I'm female, I'm Nubian. At this point in my life, I am more than I ever imagined I would be. And more importantly, I am many of you. I'm mother, I'm daughter, I'm sister, I'm friend, I'm a provider and a nurturer. I've discovered in living my life and in my life experiences that you either are a giver or you're a taker. They usually fall on those two extremes. I'm a giver, so I'm a provider and nurturer. I'm complex and I'm multifaceted. And then I take all of that, embrace all of that of me, and I have become a podcast host, a mentor to others, a speaker, an author, a life advocate, a life strategist. I am serial entrepreneurial. I am a poet. And that is all of who I am and more. And what I want for everyone is that they are able to use the power I am to really state who they are authentically, not the titles, not what they have. These are all things you do not take with you when we exit this world. We remember the memories and the breadcrumbs and all the beautiful things that a person left and the beautiful memories they gave us. So when I ask people how they are or who they are, I'm actually asking for their authentic self. Does that make sense? Yep. Can someone answer me? Come off and mute.
Sure.
Right? So this is what, we are what we think, but we can think differently is all about, is getting to a state of such self-love and such self-awareness that nobody tells you who you are. You can tell them who you are. And when they say something that is wrong, you can correct them, but you can back up why you correct them. And far too often, we're in a society that tries to tell us who we are, tries to direct us to what we should be doing, who we should be with. And I think COVID has been very positive from the perspective that it has allowed our world to stop for a moment, not have the activity of routine and the daily things we did. And in that stoppage, many people were able to self-reflect and they made different decisions. And we're seeing the outcomes of that. And for me, that in my mind, that's a positive aspect of COVID. So I'm just going to stop it for a moment. Oops, hold on a minute. What I want, I should have introduced that. So I'm going to play for you something that talks about how we think and talks about our mind. And then I'm going to pause. I'm going to ask everyone to open up their, come off of mute, and we're going to have a discussion about what you saw. So just give me a sec. I'm going to come off share and set it up again.
We're not seeing the screen, Jen.
Yeah, I'm going to thing it. Sorry, guys.
I love all your orange.
Oh, thank you.
It's my favorite color.
Everybody comments on my background. That's my color. That's my
Yeah.
well, I like all bright colors. Orange, red.
That's us different people.
Yeah.
I had a beautiful orange kitchen in my last house.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that must have given you energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to watch this and then we're going to talk about it. Okay. So I want to see everybody. So if you can turn on your cameras. And what are your thoughts when you saw some of those things coming up on the screen about your thinking, your conscious, your subconscious, and all that? Can anyone give me some of their thoughts? Fatin, Anya, and Jackie, do you mind coming off mute?
Well, I found it interesting because I'm a very logical person. So I think a lot of the things that I do is, caused by logic and reasoning. So that thing, but it's actually the subconscious, the emotional that actually drives what you do.
And the thing is, most of our thoughts goes through the subconscious. So a human goes through over 6,000 and more, even it's actually 5 digits in thoughts a day. So in a single day, about 6,000 and more thoughts go through our subconscious. And we probably only remember a handful of those. right?
Mhm.
And what we have to understand is that by the time we're between 7 and 9, we have been influenced by our environment, our social environment, our home environment, and all that with the way we will think. That has been, it's like a program being uploaded to us. And we run through that our entire lives. And when we talk, and the reason I speak to this is because in honor of mental health, it's about understanding these things that sometimes we are wired. It doesn't always feel like we are, but we are wired to do certain things. And if we want to change how we're wired, it means writing and uploading new programs. So you see across social, a lot of times you're seeing the latest thing is stories. Stories are being told. What stories are you telling yourself? That is where it comes from. And we have to rewrite. For myself, I had to rewrite a lot of the stories, a lot of the programs I had been predefined with, and create my own stories, create my own programs that I now live with as a mature adult. So what the stick man does, and the stick man was done by Friedman, and it's shown to young kids even, and it simplifies it. It's a very simplistic version of our newer science that has been well documented, well tested. So when we talk about mental health, which is very different, do you agree that mental health differs from mental illness? Right.
Yeah,
So
for
when
sure.
exactly. So when we talk about mental health, we have to try to get an insight onto how our brain is wired and how we keep it healthy. And keeping it healthy is moving. 90% of what we do is in the subconscious, and only about 10% in the conscious. So when you hear people say that you wake up and you go to sleep in a daze, that's what they mean by that, right? So we live our lives in a daze until we, what neuroscience calls awaken. And that means moving the percentages from 90 up to the conscious so that we become more conscious of what we're doing. Does that, right?
Makes sense.
And it's fairly fascinating. Like if I went into, I wanted it to be more simple today, to kind of just trigger you to start to think and go, oh, so what am I doing on autopilot versus what am I doing by choice?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And understanding those two aspects is really very, very critical for mental wellness.
Can you give us an example of like what the difference would be? Like something that we would do just based on like our subconscious versus consciously.
Okay, I'll actually give you a perfect example. Have you ever gone into your car and driven to a place and not remember how you got there?
Yeah. Because you're lost in thought and you're on autopilot going to
You're
where you've
on
always known.
Yeah. When your children first learned to drive, they were all, oh, did I, am I in the lane? Am I this? Am I that? By the 10th year of learning to drive, they don't even think about it. They're not concerned about lanes. They're not concerned about lights. They're not concerned about how they turn, parallel parking anymore, because it's now literally been rewritten in your brain that that's an auto thing that you do. And I remember once driving and getting to my destination, and I honestly couldn't tell you what kind of traffic I went through. It was just that. So that's the kind of example. So sometimes you're doing something, even like when you have kids. I think the other point of awareness is when you have children. I know with my first, I started to realize that I was just emulating what I had seen, not what I believe my children should be, you know, how my first child should be raised. I was emulating what I had seen in my culture. And then I had to pause and kind of go, well, okay, what is your own thoughts, my own thoughts on parenting? What kind of parent do I wish to be? Right? And going through that, I realized, you know what? I'm a career-oriented person. I really enjoy what I'm doing. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to sacrifice. I'm not traditional. They were all sorts of things. So I raised my children in what would most people would consider a very non-traditional manner. And certainly in my culture, against some of my culture, I gave my children a voice. In my culture, remember I said kids are meant to be seen, not heard. I gave my children a voice. They could tell me what they want. I could be offended. We'll talk it through. If I feel they've gone too far, I teach them how to come back and go, you can't, that's a little too direct, but they had a voice, right? So these are, is that a good example, Kathy? In terms of,
thank you. Yeah.
so we have to become more conscious, more aware, and tie it into what we really truly think. We see it happening with things like LGBTQ, where, you know, someone can't come out to their parents and the parents have a reaction, but they don't stop to say, let me listen to my child, right? And truly understand what they're saying to me and how I can help. That's not their natural intake. They might get there through, you know, but sometimes I think, because I've gone to those where young and teenage and they can't tell their parents, right? So some of that is autopilot. they're just reacting to something they grew up in their environment or was told or belief or something. So all of these things have a bearing, but it's the difference between a healthy mindset, like health, you know, mental wellness. Because you can be healthy, have a mental health, but there's still some things that are not your own that you're executing on. So hopefully that makes sense. Any aha moments?
Well, personally, I would say that I think that's something probably that I guess I've really been working on, because like, for example, when my daughter told me that she was pregnant, right? Now, first of all, my emotions took over just because it was so recent that my mom had passed away. So my first response was just emotional, right? But then, you know, obviously it's not what I would have chosen for her at that point in her life, but it's her life, right?
Yeah.
And so I just had to take that step back and just, you know what, like I'm always going to be your mother, and I'm always going to be the grandmother of your children. So, you know what, it's to my benefit, right?
Yeah.
To enjoy it, or, you know, like how I react is my own choice and my responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So,
right. And you know, I can tell you from my mother was, you know, she was in her 20s and she didn't get any support. She got a pushback, right?
Yeah.
So I have always believed what you now did is create that safe place for her to land.
Yeah.
And then you influence.
Right. Try gently, very gently.
Yes, you influence, but you don't impose your things. And the key part I want to talk to that I'm glad you brought up is emotion, right? You notice how it said your thoughts, and then you feel, and then your body reacts and you send off a vibration. So all of us, as we walk through our day-to-day life, we actually have what I call a universal vibration. And have you ever met somebody and somehow a lot of people use the K word, karma, and you go, oh, I don't know what's that's their beat. You might not know what's going through their heads, but they've emitted a vibration that opposed yours. And right now, with everything going on in the world, who feels today the world's gone crazy?
Oh yeah.
Up to, if I had 4 hands, they'd be up.
Yeah.
And the world is in, like, everybody's uptight, right? Everybody's uptight. There's change going on. We don't, as humans, like change. And everything's changing, and it has created different beats, and we're feeling the change of
Mhm.
those beats, and we're reacting to the change of those beats. And because it's very subliminal, we're just sensing it. And sometimes we see little things to tell us that we're right? So all of this is what impacts our mental health and keeps us from getting to mental wellness. So my thing is about making you aware to start to reflect, because the way you get to mental wellness is to reflect on your things, reflect on you. And sometimes the day-to-day things do not give us time to reflect. And so we just end up in a routine that we go through, and we're happy to just get through the day. I got through the day, I'm going to sleep, and we get up again and we start the routine over. What I push is, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, I don't care if it's 2 minutes. You need time in every day to self-reflect for just yourself. That's how you tie into your thoughts. And to what that stick man video showed us, that's how you connect with yourself. And in my journey, I've gone through the journey, and I still go through it. I'm still going through it, because even when you get to a point, new changes, right? So I'm still journeying, but I've gone through the tough road of looking at how I think, what has influenced how I think, and rewrite my programs to be that better person I wish to be. And when I'm a better person, guess what? You see it, you get to experience that better person, right? My rhythms are such that I don't detract people, but I look to attract people with my rhythm. So I'm very attuned, very conscious of how I extend myself to others to help support and just be that soft place for anybody to land, whether it's my child, anybody's child, an animal, doesn't matter. I want them to have a soft place to land. And that's by choice and decision. And it's not emotional. It's passionate from the emotional side. I'm passionate about what I do. And that's where emotion fits in, not to be emotional, irrational, meaning like how you taught Kathy, you had a emotional reaction, but the ability to stop and go, okay, I'm going to now put, right, what I call lead with love in a situation like that. I will lead with love, ignore the emotional stuff I'm going through right now. Look at that later in my reflections, right? But right now I need to be passionate about my love for my daughter, or I need to be passionate about my love for my friend. That's what we're talking about.
I think it starts with a decision. I always tell my son when he reflects on, geez, I only pay attention to the things that I want to do. All the things that I have to do, I just can't get to them. I can't I lack the motivation to do it. And I tried to tell him, I said, it starts with the decision. You have to decide to do those things, because the longer you put it off, the more it's going to weigh on you. And you can't enjoy the things that you want to do because you have all this other stuff hanging over your head. So it starts with the decision. And then it's funny, I saw him the next day. He said, I'm doing all the stuff. And he got it all done. And then he was able to go do what he wanted to do. And it was a lot better for him.
Yeah,
But,
and you should ask him, how do you feel now? How do you feel? It's a big difference, right?
yes.
And procrastination is one of those things that just holds us back. It's a fear reaction, right? It's like we need to be passionate about what we're doing, and we need to understand why we're doing anything. But all life is, beyond it being a journey, it's a journey of choice and decisions. And you need a decision to do something to get a goal. And then you need passion behind that to do the action to get the results that you wanted.
Right.
Right. So you're absolutely right. Everything we do in life is a decision. Right. A decision to swear at somebody is still a decision. Throwing a glass is still a decision. So we have to recognize everything we do is forms from that. So how will we carry ourselves? How will we strengthen our minds to get to wellness? So what I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to tell you how my simple way of looking at life. Okay. So this is my simple world. And you notice I had choice there, right, Christine?
Mm-hmm.
This is my simple world. We have ourselves, and ourselves as an individual is multidimensional. Mind, body, spirit, or soul, whichever word you wish to use. Okay. So we have the brain, we have the body, and we have the spirit. Other individuals are the same. And the difference between all of us are experiences. Everything that we touch and do creates an experience. I don't believe in words like can't. I don't believe in words failure. I don't even believe in the word success. And the reason I don't believe in the word success is because it's subjective. So if Christine tells me she's pursuing success, and I say I'm pursuing success, we may not be having the same conversation, because what she perceives to be success and what I perceive to be success could be very, very different. So that's why I don't use that word. I try my best not to. The way I measure success is by achieving all of the actionable things that I set out to do. So when an action or goal gets completed, then I would say that that particular thing I was success, right? Was success, but it's incremental. It's not life success. That is a whole different ballgame. And I don't use the word in that way. But everything else is an experience. Every goal we do, this that you're here with me is an experience. And what I love about the experiences is that an experience can touch me, and I can use an experience like this to touch others. And if I am well in my mind, body, and spirit, I can use that to influence my experiences, and I can use it to influence others. And that's how I look at life. Everything along it is influence. And I can touch experiences, I can touch others, I can go through experiences to touch others, others can go through me to give me experiences, and so forth. But that's just my simple take on life. I try not to make it any more complex. Even though I said to you in the beginning, I'm multifaceted and I'm complex as an individual. Thoughts? Any thoughts on this? Who feels that they have a complex life? Or the way they see the world is way more complex than this? Who feels that?
I'm always complex.
As an individual.
Yes. Yes, as an individual, I cannot fit into any particular box.
And what I always encourage is to put pen to paper, simply because we know that our
Is it just Jen freezing, or are we all freezing? Or
I
is
think
it,
Jen, I can't hear her either.
I
yeah.
think she's frozen. Uh-oh, heard something happened with her connection, maybe her internet.
Her panel is still there, so strange. I'll text her. Oh. Says she's come out, so hopefully she'll come back in. So it just said, I'm now the host. Hi, everybody. It's unfortunate, but I'm sure she'll come back in. Oh, okay. Here you are. You're back. Oh, put your microphone back on. Still can't hear you, Jen.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, which part where did I lose you?
Oh, it's been a while.
Oh, okay. Sorry, to me it looked fine, and then I saw the message. So my question I had asked though, and I was waiting for, was kind of, do you feel like overwhelmed? Do you feel your life is so complex? How can you simplify? And I said, one of the ways to start the process of simplification is that time allocated for yourself to just write a word, a sentence, or anything down, just so that it imprints in your brain. And from there, once you see. So an example I was using was Kathy with her grandchild, taking a moment in the day at some point, especially at the end of the day. I always like evening, but it's up to you. Everybody has their different points. And just write a simple sentence that reflects the moment you spent today with your grandchild, and that imprints, and it goes out and it's part of your vibrations as well. So things like that, it doesn't have to be 6 pages you write. People are turned off when you say write because they think, oh, they want me to write a whole page or journal. No, it could be one simple word that just means something to you, that reflects your day and makes you think on it and reflect on that word for a while. So that's another way to mental health. Okay. So now, what I believe in very strongly, and I push, and this is my own word, is divine-tastical living. And really, everything precursor that I said previously is about you becoming the artisan of your life. And taking ownership is what is needed to do that, right? Getting back connected with your mind, body, and soul, and the 3 dimensions of yourself, which is what they encompass, leads to overall fitness and leads to you literally in the same way as a painter filling a canvas with something paints you. You get, and I don't know about you, but I get chills when I say you get to paint you. The analogy I used in the book I wrote was weaving a tapestry. I was always amazed and fascinated by the amount of effort that people put in to picking a rug for their home. They never picked it lightly. It took several trips to the store. Many of them, I know someone that traveled overseas, bought a rug, shipped it back to put on the wall. And I was fascinated by that. I was like, oh my goodness, the amount of time and effort and energy that goes into picking a rug for whether it's a living room floor or wall. So I said to my friend, okay, so if you were now taking that effort and time into weaving a tapestry of you, what would you have? What colors? So Kathy, you said to me, my orange background, I said to you, I love oranges, I love reds. If I were to weave a tapestry of me, it would be so bright.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be so bright of colors, right? And I know how I would paint that. If I had some of you, if you were going to weave a tapestry or put color on a canvas to represent yourself, what would it be? What would it look like? right? And that's what divine tastical living is all about. Weaving a life that reflects you, whether it's personal, whether it's business, because those two should not be fragmented and separated. They're still you, right? So if you are aligned with who you are in your line, you will find that the choices you make in even your professional life aligns with you, and in your personal life aligns to create wholeness. And a lot of times we live fragmented. We separate those two things. And that's how we then get into midlife crises and all these things and labels that we put on what happens, right? So it's all about divantastical living. So now I'm going to give you 4 things to consider to start. I could have given you way more. I chose 4 that I think are 4 key ones to really reflect on. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, we always talk about SWOT in business, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it's very traditional in business, and it's really non-traditionally used for individuals. But I encourage individuals to actually SWOT themselves, right? That's what we need. It's like going, what are you doing? What are you thinking?
But with an O, not an A.
Yes. But it's really, and we always get asked, sometimes, not always, like when you go for an interview, what are your strengths, right? But ones that people tend to know their strengths because they're positive. When they ask you, what's your weaknesses? And I've hired, so I know people hesitate on their weaknesses for 2 reasons. One, they question what they should speak about in the interview. And 2, sometimes they honestly have a hard time knowing that. But I'm saying, SWOT yourself and actually document all the things you love about yourself that you think are strengths and would never, ever, ever, ever change, right? And what are the weaknesses that some weaknesses you're accepting of? I am not good with my.
Uh-oh. Is that everybody or just Jen?
Everybody.
Okay.
Just Jen.
Everybody can hear that Jen is missing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sending her another message so he just doesn't keep
That-
going. Just before. Anyway, I let her know, so she should come back in. It's a shame that this is happening. Oh, you've got some. There you are again. Oh, can't hear you. Jen, can't hear you.
It's so frustrating. I don't know what is going on. I've never had trouble with the internet. And of course, on this important thing, I am. So I do apologize. I don't actually do things. So, so you can SWOT yourself and just start to get familiar with the opportunities that you are not. And for me, the opportunities are things like, when you think of opportunities, think about, what gifts am I not really leveraging, or I've put on the backside, the behind the thing, under the carpet, and not really leveraging, but they make me really happy. I love it. I can do it for 20 hours, but I've put it on the thing for whatever else is going on in your life. And those to me are your opportunities.
Now we cut out on your weaknesses, so.
Yeah, so the weaknesses are, sometimes we have weaknesses that we want to keep. So for me, I said, mine, I'm not good with my hands. There's no way I'm going to go and tell somebody that I can go and fix their, put in a toilet. It's never going to happen. I am not good that way. I accept that. not looking to change it. So, you know, I'm not good that way. So figure out what your weaknesses are and which ones you're happy to keep and which ones you want to change. And in literally looking at it on paper, you can set goals. If you don't set goals, you can set goals. And again, you can't get to a goal unless you make a decision to change it. Notice that, right? If you don't make the decision, you can't set a goal. And then the threats are the things that are, you know, if I'm in a bad relationship, why am I in a bad relationship? Why am I here? Right? Is it, you know, financial concerns that's making you do that? So those to me would be threats, right? What are the things that can hold me back from the opportunities would be threats. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's go into the 4 things. Patterns. You need to get tied into the patterns in your life. Are we in the same old? And what I mean by patterns, and I'll actually give you a perfect example of a pattern. Just 2 weeks ago, my hard drive crashed. A year and a half to 2 years ago, the hard drive crashed. 2 years ago, when that hard drive crashed, I was able to recover about 98%, if not 99%, from the hard drive. I got a backup, and I was to do backups upon backups upon backups. And instead, in the last 6 months, the backups got put, procrastination got put as a low priority item, and my hard drive crashed. Except this time, they can only recover less than 50% of my files. Right? Is there a lesson to be learned in that? Absolutely, there's a lesson to be learned in that. So if you are repeating things, you find you're being kicked into something, and you go, I've had this painful lesson before, it's a pattern. So you now need to use that self-reflective time to figure out why you're repeating that pattern. Again, make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the second thing is change. In order to create what you want for yourself, you have to be the change you seek. So nothing's going to change for your situation unless an action is taken. And again, it starts with a decision to identify the goal, to then take the action fueled by the emotional passion to get the results. So create the world you seek by being the change you seek. The third one is commitment. So you made a decision, you've got some goals set that you want to attain, and now there's got to be commitment behind going after those. So who here makes New Year's resolutions? Exactly. My hand is not up. I do not make New Year's resolution. I spend from September to December reflecting on my year, planning for my next year, setting my goals. And then I put the commitment behind to attain the goals, but I do not set resolutions. Okay? And in order, what commitment ties into is investing time, money, energy, with a very laser focus on what you want for yourself. That's the commitment, laser focus. If people are trying to distract you, guess what? We'll come up to what you have to do, right? But you need the commitment. Does that make sense? You need to invest time, money, energy. Wonderful if you just need time and energy, right? But sometimes you got to put money behind it to achieve what you want to do. And the fourth one is, again, boundaries, setting scope, putting boundaries to keep you laser focused on what you're trying to achieve. And sometimes the importance of the boundaries are even the people around you. So I'll give you an example. I had someone that was saying to me, oh, I can't really discuss this with a friend because they're not going to be supportive. So I went, okay, so you put friend and non-supportive in the same sentence. What's wrong with that picture? What's wrong with that picture?
Exactly.
It's a reality. I'm don't shoot the messenger, but I am telling you that if you have unsupportive people in your world today, they are neither friends. I understand if they're family that you can't get rid of, but you could still put boundaries.
Yeah. I had a friend who kept saying that she couldn't relate to me when I was having an issue with my husband and talking to her about it, because that wasn't the type of relationship she had with her husband. So she couldn't relate. So I couldn't talk to her about anything like that because she kind of just shrugged and said, sorry, can't relate.
Right?
Yeah.
So I question, should they be in your, what I call the inner circle? All right.
Yeah.
I want supportive people in my inner circle that are supporting me going towards what I am trying to do. If you are negative in any way, if you are not supportive of me, then I am pushing you out of my boundaries. Doesn't mean that if I see you in the mall, I'm not going to stop and say, hey, how you doing? Good. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, because I know you're not supportive, right? But I'm going to still be interested in what they're doing. I'm going to wish them well, and I'm going to move on. So it doesn't mean a poisonous type of push out. It just means create the boundaries and scope who are going to move you forward in the way you wish to be moved forward. And usually it's like-minded, supportive, got your back. When you hit and get a little rough nail scratch, they get up and they say, that's okay. Let me clean that up for you. I got some alcohol here. Keep going. Right? That's what I mean by boundaries. So reality is what you allow it to be. And boundaries, both internal and external, must be set. Mm-hmm. There must be consequences for yourself and consequences for those that you want to surround yourself with. And usually there's only about 5. The golden number is 5 people in your circle is what you need. You don't need 20. You don't need 40. You need about 5. So thoughts on those guidance.
It all makes sense.
Perfect. Okay. So here is where it is. There is only one person ever looking back. There's only ever one person, you. And you have to like what you see. You have to encourage what you see looking back at you. You can even talk to that reflection. You ain't crazy when you do that. You can talk to yourself. Right? Enjoy talking to yourself. Enjoy writing about yourself. Enjoy patting yourself on the back. And then make sure you're surrounded by people who also pat you on the back. And we have a lifetime, one lifetime, to get that reflection right. And we have now the present, not the past, not what happened to us in the past, right? Learn from those lessons. You leverage those lessons to strengthen what we have to do, live in the now, planning for the future. And that's the great news about our life. It can be simple. It can be rewarding. It can be embracing. It can be passionate. It can be all those things. But at the end of the day, it has to be for you. And we're taught in society that thinking about you sometimes is selfish. And I am of the complete opposite, in that thinking about you, strengthening you, putting you where you need to be, empowers you to help others, empowers you to serve in such a powerful way. And that's what we were brought on this earth to do. And we have, it's all within us to do. So that's the good news story. And when we, and to Mental Health Month and Week that Christine arranged, it's about applauding, right? There's no wrong. We're all unique. We've all been brought, with different things. Some of us don't have sight. Some of us do. Some of us have mental illness. Some of us don't. But we're all still wonderful. Even in the frame of some of those challenges, we are all still wonderful human beings, and we deserve love. We deserve support, and we are worth a whole bunch. All of us, you included. So let's give a clap to ourselves. I like to do self-hugs. Do a self-hug. Do a self-hug. Yes, Kathy. I hope Fabulous and them are doing a self-hug. Okay?
I can only do it with one arm because I got a bad shoulder.
That's okay. Do a self-hug. Do a self-hug. And you know what? Try it every morning. Just get up and do a self-hug. And it puts you in such a state, like such a different mindset, that you end up going hugging other people. I know in COVID you can't, which is the biggest miss I have actually with COVID, is my ability to hug people. And I miss that very, very much. But
I think that's the thing that most people miss.
Yeah, I really do. It's just, and
I find even when you see somebody by chance and you're like, hey, and it's like you both take a step forward and it's like, oh, and then the elbows go out or something, right?
Exactly. And and Christine and I growing up in Quebec, that's what we're all about, is kissing on both cheeks, hugging.
Yeah.
And it nothing. So that is the presentation. Hopefully you liked it and it helped, like it gives you one thing. As you see, I love to speak. I speak publicly. I just want to give some of the speaking topics that I have in addition to this one. I have Power Up Your Purpose, Abundance is a Choice, and Understanding People, Innovation, and Others. I just wanted to give you a thing. And going back to the very start where Christine said, talk about what you've done. Now I can, because you've gone past who I am authentically. Now, from the professional point of view, I can now say I'm a life strategist and business accelerator. I work with individuals and companies to move them forward and grow the person or the business or both. Right? So that's what I do. I love to speak on stages. So if you think of any events that you would like to have me at, you definitely can. My website is jendrakes.com, and you'll have all my writings. The other thing that I do is I'm an author. My book is on Amazon, Aladdin Carpets. I am on Medium. My articles are on Medium. You can follow me there. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and my main platform is LinkedIn. I'm not a big Facebook lover, but there you go. And you can see the book and everything. And any questions that I can answer before we go?
The one thing I'd like to do is I've got a nice gift basket of little this and that's towards wellness and well-being, and I'm going to do a draw. So I put everybody's name in. I'm going to spin the wheel, and we have Jackie. Congratulations. Yay, Jackie.
Hey, Jackie. Fantastic.
Jackie, are you still with us? Can you put your microphone on at least? Jackie, calling Jackie.
Jackie, are you there?
Well, maybe she stepped away for a moment.
Sorry, I'm here. I was just on the road.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want the background noise coming through.
Well, you won. Congratulations.
So much. I've enjoyed the session very much too.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Good, good. All right. Well, just get in touch with me and let me know when you want to come and pick up your gift basket or gift bag. I should say it's not really a basket. I make gift bags.
So
Thank you so much.
You're
thanks
welcome.
everyone for coming. Christine, once again, I want to thank you for asking me to do this. It's been a pleasure and an honor to speak, you know, and help anybody that I can to just have a slight change in perspective, to really put themselves first and rah yourself.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of the picture that is there, thank you very much. And now go and paint yourself.
That's great.
awesome.
Thank you so much.